Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, my third secondary students. Welcome to the second semester of Durus Online. Today, your lesson is writing and it's taken from your book Traveler 6. So, if we go, as usual, to learn the objectives for today. So, today we will learn two things, and it's all about writing. One, to write a letter of application, and two, to use inappropriate phrases in writing an essay. So in both cases, we're going to write an essay, and the first one, which is a letter. Okay, so the kind of writing is called a letter. And this kind of letter is like a resume or just kind of some kind of application. So you're applying for some kind of job. And for number two, to help us write very well, we need some phrases, some vocabulary to make our writing more coherent and more clear and enjoyable. So everybody looks on the internet, in the newspapers, in the magazines, and they're looking for jobs. So have you ever written any kind of letter of application? What for? Sometimes you got in the advertisement, on the internet most of the time, and in newspapers, that people or companies are asking for some kind of jobs. Have you ever applied for this job? Have you ever written a letter to, apply for this job? And what for? Did you apply for charity, volunteer job, a part-time job, full job, etc.? So since you're third secondary students, you need to have some kind of information that help you to write a resume or a CV. So the resume or a CV will help you a lot to get a better job if you do it in a very skillful and good way. So this is today. Our lesson again is writing, and it's about a letter of application. So what is a letter of application? Here are some advice and tips to help you do this very well. Let's start with the greeting. Always start with a greeting with your writing. So use an appropriate greeting, and it should be formal. Everything you do should be formal because this is a job application, a CV or a resume. So you start with a formal greeting like salam alaikum, like good day to all of you, whatever you choose. And then you start with the opening paragraph, which is some kind of introduction. You can use set of phrases to state what you are applying for. So I'm writing for you, I'm applying for this, and applying for that. And then say where you saw the relevant notice or advertisement. I saw your advertisement on jobs.com and I like it and I wanted to directly apply myself for this job because I like it a lot. So you start with a greeting and then use some nice words to say what you're applying for, and then you say where you saw or read about this advertisement. So then you go to the main part. In the main part, first you mention your age. Then, number two, describe any relevant qualifications or qualities or experience. And number three, give information about your present situation, work, or experience or work experience. And finally, number four, state any relevant interests or hobbies. So, maybe I'm 18 years old. I have worked a part-time job as a cashier. I have great computer skills, and my English is very great. And now I have finished my third secondary students, and I am free in the summer to work at least for 3 or 2 months. And finally, you say some interest that you love computer, you love reading, any kind of hobbies like swimming or sports, whatever you choose. Then finally, in the conclusion or in the closing paragraph, first, one, you explain why you think your application should be taken into consideration. So you're trying to give advice and strong recommendation to the company you're applying for or the site you're applying for, that you need the company or the boss or whatever, the HR, to take your application into consideration because this will show that you insist on having the job and you're so determined to get the job. Number two, ask for any additional information you require. So if there is anything missing in the advertisement, try to ask, for example, what when exactly this will start on February or on March and so on. If needed or if relevant, mention that you enclosed a CV or a reference. So finally, you say, I have enclosed or I have attached a CV or any kind of document, or to whom it may concern, any kind of paper or document that proves, your experience, some kind of recommendation from another company that you work maybe for, or sometimes as a part-time job. Of course, finally, you write your name and you sign off and always use a formal signature ending. And that is your official signature. Then let's find in front of us on the screen, you can see a letter of application, which is a sample of what we have, talked about. And to the left here, you see some kind of explanation about the writing. So we have in the first paragraph 3 points, okay? In the first paragraph, 3 points to pay attention for. Number one, mention where you saw the announcement for the opportunity of volunteer jobs or scholarship, etc. Two, write 2 to 3 sentences outlining your experience in the field of your interest. And number three, let the hiring party know that you are willing and able to work toward the organization's goals. So let's see where we can find this in the text. So I am writing with regard to the excellence scholarships, which I saw announced on the university website. So this is number one, where you saw this announcement. I am considering studying mechanical engineering at Birmingham University, and I would like to apply for a scholarship. Now you mentioned your age. I'm 18 years old and have just taken my A-level examinations in mathematics, further mathematics, physics, and chemistry. I was awarded 3 A's and a B. So this goes here. Let the hiring party know that you're willing and some kind of rewards and goals, and that you're going to do everything that can fit in the job. So the second paragraph, also we have 3 points to pay attention to. One, discuss your employment and volunteer history. That's your experience, and talk about how that experience it is relevant to the position. So you try to link what did you do before to what you're applying to now. Number two, name any skills you possess that would be useful or relevant for this position, and talk about why those skills would be useful. Three, include any major issues or problems you were successfully able to identify and solve at your current or former jobs. Let's find out and read the second part in this application. I have been interested in studying engineering since I was 13. I am particularly interested in mechanical engineering, and last year I took part in a competition to design an engine for miniature racing car and won first prize. I wish to work in the motor racing industry in the future, and I believe this degree will prepare me for such a career. I also have part-time job at a car manufacturing factory near my home. This work experience has provided me with organizational, teamwork, and time management skills, all of which will help me in my university studies. So you just, talked about you were interested in this job long time ago, since you were 13 years old, and you got too many skills that will be helpful to, the the application you're applying for, and finally you talked about your previous experience and how it provided you with too many skills that will be very relevant to the new job. So in the third paragraph, also now we have two things to pay attention to. One, let the hiring party know when you're available to volunteer. Two, ask the hiring party for the opportunity to meet in person to discuss the position further, and let him or her know when you would be available for an interview. So let's find out in the third part, which is the last paragraph. As I am hardworking and reliable and have the relevant skills and experience needed to succeed in this course, I hope that my application will be seriously considered. I would be grateful if you could inform me how I can get an application form and about any other requirements. I look forward to hearing from you at your earliest convenience. And finally, yours sincerely, Paul Allen. You write your name and your signature. And remember, your signature should be a formal or an official one. So that is in the end, you describe yourself, you're hardworking, reliable, and you got different skills, and you really want them to take your application seriously. And this will stress that you're really keen for the job. And finally, you ended that you need more information how to apply. And finally, you ended up in some kind of official way. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm so eager to, hearing your reply. Yours, sincerely yours, faithfully yours. Uh, all of these, formal endings that will end your letter, and then your name and your official signature. So let's take a kind of evaluation. Now, you're looking for a job and it's a volunteer job, so it's not a non-paid job. So you read this on a maybe a website or a newspaper. So you have seen this advertisement and have decided to apply as a volunteer. Write your letter of application. Now you do this. What is the advertisement? Volunteers needed. Do you have some free time during the summer? Would you like to help give something back to the community? Volunteers are needed to work as assistants to instructors at the Welton Community Center. Volunteers must 1. Like working with people and be able to work in a team. 2. Be skilled in one of the following areas: art, sports, computer technology. And 3. Be at least 16 years old. Send applications to John White at Welton Community Center, 43 Willow Lane, Welton, by May 10 or by 10th of May. Now, if you saw this kind of advertisement and you all have free time in the summer, and maybe you would do something, like charity or a volunteer job to pay back your community or your society. So you can do this. Now, this will give you some kind of experience. So, a letter of application, which is the advertisement, volunteer needed. So, we did this draft for you, which is a rough writing. Now, you can write a similar one. Try to go to the newspaper or the internet and find a similar application or advertisement and write your own application. Here is an example. Dear Mr. John White, I am interested in an opportunity to volunteer with the Welton Community Center. I have experience working with people and would like to continue to do so in a volunteer capacity. I volunteered as a coach at the Champlain School and enjoyed being able to help teenagers learn during their first experience in a classroom. In this position, I assisted with schools projects. For the past several winters, I volunteered with children on the slopes of a local ski resort, assisting coaches with teaching basic skiing to toddlers and elementary school age children. In a Wilton Community Center, if the Wilton Community Center has a need for a dedicated volunteer, I would be thrilled to have the opportunity to assist. My schedule is flexible and I'm available evening and weekend hours as well as during the day. Sincerely, and then you write your name and you sign off. So that was all today. We learned three things about writing, which is how to write an essay, which is some kind of an application for some kind of job or volunteer job or part-time job, and then how we choose some words and phrases to help us be convincing, and then we learn the outline, how we start with mentioning your name and what you're going to write about, and how to start with a very formal greeting like salam alaikum, like Mr. blah blah, and so on. So we start with the opening paragraph. Then in the opening paragraph, we choose two main aspects of the issue. Sorry, and then in the main parts, you name any skills you possess that would be useful or relevant for this position, and also in the main part, you include any major issues or problems you were successfully able to identify and solve at your current or former jobs. And finally, in the final or closing paragraph, you ask the hiring party for the opportunity to meet in person to discuss the position further. These are the references and resources taken from your book, The Traveler 6. And for more information and lists, you can visit our website, ain.edu.sa, and also on Twitter, follow us on ain_edu. And finally, for more news and updates, you can call us on this number. That was all for today. Thank you for watching this. Until I see you again, have a good day and assalamu alaikum.